Uh, so Charles, we'll see you in a month. Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see you.
Yeah, look, as Ben says, have a good life, man. It's been nice knowing you. I'll see you on the other side of the election, man.
Is it like, there was this one time 6 months ago when I was going through the airport and one of our staff was coming the other way in the airport. They were coming in and I was going out, right? And it was like they were coming down the escalator and I was going up, right? And it was like you couldn't quite reach to do the high five, but it's what it feels like for you all on field work. And
Totally.
there's no place that we're going more than the states of Pennsylvania and Arizona. And I know that you're going to be in both of those states this week in the next several days, right?
Yeah, so tomorrow I'm heading out to Arizona, and we're prioritizing the states where we've got the most volunteers. So, right now it's all about getting our people to be most effective out in the field. And the high numbers of volunteers is a lot for our team leads to manage. So we're shoring up the system. But I'll be in Arizona, which right now, what is it? Is it pulling towards Trump just a smidge? I got some thoughts about that. But most importantly, the place where where Trump's spending the most money, and where both campaigns are spending the most time is in Pennsylvania. And I'll be ending my 3 state tour there in Pennsylvania, just outside of, well, not just outside of Philly, really in closer to the Scranton territory, almost.
Okay, great. Um, so we about a couple of weeks ago we started this little thing we did is on one of our podcasts called the keys, the common power key
Yeah, are we
the
doing
election.
keys today?
Yeah, well, we're gonna do one of it. We're gonna add one to it.
Where
Okay.
you want
So
to add a key? I don't know if you're allowed to do that.
I did. I called our lawyers, and our lawyer said a key. Okay, a key. What's exactly it look like?
Did you consult with was his name Alan Dershowitz or whatever? Did you consult with him to see if this is how you do it? I don't know if that's allowed.
That is not the lawyer. Alan Dershowitz was one of O.J. Simpson's lawyer and is not a good dude generally. Okay, Alan Lichtman is the key guy. Okay.
Oh shit. All right. Okay. Wrong lawyer. My bad. All right.
Um,
Go
so look,
ahead.
here are some of the keys that look good for and a Harris, but we're not going to go into them. We're just going to mention them. Polls generally look a little bit better for Harris than they do for Trump everywhere, but we don't. It's our least important key, folk. It's the least
Wait, wait,
important
wait,
key.
wait, wait. But it's doing what I said it would do. I said it would increasingly show a widening, and that's what it's been doing since they were neck and neck before. So
Right. So polls look good. I didn't want to go into depth on any of these. Okay, the polls look good.
okay, but I'm gonna just ad lib a little bit here and there because it's looking good. It's looking good. Go ahead.
The generic congressional ballot, which is people's desire for who they'd like to have control of Congress, and is very predictive the closer you get to an election, has the Dems up by a couple points. Okay, so they look good on that.
Okay.
Enthusiasm levels, when people do surveys and they say, how enthusiastic are you to vote for a candidate? Democratic enthusiasm is consistently higher than Republican enthusiasm. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
This is also related to Trump's crowd size.
Yes, yes. Did you see what I didn't show it in the Colbert Report yesterday, but no, it's not the Colbert Report, the Late Show with Colbert. There was another clip where she she references like, oh, I'm going to do some rally somewhere, and she goes, and by the way, the crowds are pretty big at my rally. Okay.
And they are. She fills the entire venue. And all these journalists are now posting all these pictures of Trump. Like his stage is like moved up like 2/3 of the way in like a gym or something like that. And he can only fill like 1/3 of it. Yeah. So
Okay.
that's our anecdotal measure of enthusiasm without any polls right there.
Yeah, that's true. We want both. We want the surveys plus the ground, what's on the ground. When you look at fundraising numbers, Harris, as of yesterday, in 80 days of the campaign, has raised over $1 billion. All right. It's
That
just,
is outrageous.
it's never been, there's nothing been anything like this. Okay.
Outrageous.
So tons and tons of money. So that's a good metric. These are part of the key. And then if you look at like people on the ground volunteers. Harris has got far more volunteers on the ground, Harris Walls, than Trump Vance do. And Trump Vance outsourced their 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 ground efforts to basically Elon Musk's pack. And
Yeah. So Elon, the great organizer, is going to figure out how to get people knocking on doors for Trump. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. I love how this is the side story of Elon finding out his limits of the things he can't do, because he's done all these other things that he proved people wrong. Electric car company, space company. It's when he runs into like human being issues, like
oh my gosh.
communications platform, like global communications platform. Now he's gonna get people to knock on doors. There aren't enough people that you could pay to do this. Anyways, it's hilarious. He's gonna have robots do it. That would be impressive.
He would send his cars. Hey,
That's
you see
perfect.
that Geico stopped insuring hit the cyber
The
trucks?
the Cybertruck. Yeah. 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 And the statement was like, it was some like egregious statement of like, these cars do not meet the standard of like some like basic, like they're uninsurable. Yeah, this car is a joke. I love that. Elon Musk.
Totally. Okay,
All
so
right.
now here we get to the key that is the focus of this podcast. And
Okay.
this is a key that we're going to use a lot from here on through the election, and it's actual
Is
votes.
this the added key?
This is the new key. Yeah.
Okay, I need the audience to verify first. As you were going through the keys, I just want to say I don't know. Do we miss a key? And are you reframing some of these? Can folks who are watching this, can you just, if you can comment on this video and just I need you to we need a fact check on David on these keys. Okay.
Look, man, nobody has better keys than we have. Nobody. These are the best keys ever. All right.
It's
I don't know.
good.
Okay. They're so good. They're so
No,
good. I'm
people are
telling you.
saying people are
Hey,
saying
yeah, you like my keys, right?
they've
Okay.
never seen keys like this before. People tell me they go, no one has keys like you. No one has keys like you. Never seen never before in history people have keys like this.
Right. And that's why we're here today, going to focus in Pennsylvania on the Keystone State. See what we did there? The
Oh,
Keystone State. Okay.
a Trump impression followed by a dad joke. It's pretty
Yes.
good, man. That's pretty good.
So here's the new keys. Just, man, let me get it out. All right. Here's the
Okay.
new key. It's votes cast. All right.
Oh, this is good. I like this.
Okay. It's not,
Approved.
we
Stamp
don't,
with approval.
right. Okay. Thank you. We don't know who anybody voted for, but in some states, they have voter registration attached
Yes.
to partisan identity. So
I
when
love it.
someone casts a vote, you can see how many Dems and how many Republicans and how many independents have voted. And you can't assume that all of them voted for the candidate of that party, but you can assume pretty high percentages.
Well,
Okay.
yeah. So okay, so we know that polling is showing that in blue states, Kamala's losing ground with Democrats, and in purple red states, she's gaining ground with independents and Republicans. So in the states that matter the most, if 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 we're seeing high Democratic turnout, those are our voters. And then we can assume that there's some percentage of swing voters of red and purple voters that are ours as well.
Yeah, and independent voters, which you just said swing, it does show Harris, winning by about 5 to 7 or 8 points.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So you can assume that the Republican and Democratic numbers pretty much wash each other out in terms of crossover votes. So you say how many Dems are there, and you assume most of those are going to go to Harris. How many Republicans are there? Most of those are going to go to Trump, and with a slight advantage pro Harris in the independents.
Yep.
So this data becomes extremely valuable. And now, like you're going to be traveling. I'm here doing my thing, podcast, raising money, yada, yada, yada. And part of what I love to do now is start to analyze early vote data. Okay.
Yeah.
And so here's where states are voting already that are useful for us. Nevada's voting, Pennsylvania's voting, North Carolina's voting, Ohio's
Hmm.
voting, Michigan's voting.
All these key states.
Arizona just started getting ballots yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Georgia starts to vote on the 15th. Um, all of these states don't have a lot of data in except for Pennsylvania. Okay.
Hmm.
So Pennsylvania. So here I put together a
That's
little bit
so
of
weird because they're
information
notoriously slow on counting
on
on,
counting.
on election day. Yeah.
Right. But they show they are able to receive and to report data very quickly about mail-in ballots. Okay.
Hmm.
So here's a little data. Now, I'm gonna go into this a little bit.
What
So
is this? You put it into a slide already? Look at
mhm,
this,
yeah.
man. That's what I'm talking about.
So Joshua Smithley, first of all, just so we're clear about who he is. I have been following Joshua Smithley for several years. He is not a pundit. He's like this, he's one of these data nerds, right?
Yeah, that just like he works for somebody he can't say, and then his Twitter account is notorious. I loved his handle, blocked frequently. Very cool.
Yes.
Very
Like
cool.
when you look at his profile, it's like an aviation specialist. I pay attention to politics, and he's really even-handed. Like this dude is definitely a pro Harris, pro Dem, but
Mm,
he's always very careful. He's like, look, I don't know. We're just gonna have to see. Well, he doesn't get out in front of stuff. Okay. So Smithley is somebody I trust a lot. And on October 7th, 3 days ago, he started tracking early vote data in Pennsylvania. And he created what he calls the firewall numbers. Now, the firewall
mm,
numbers are the numbers by which you assume that if the Dems get this many votes advantaged in the mail-in vote, that they should feel pretty good going into election day. All right.
okay.
So like the Dems, according to Smithley, are trying to get to 390,000 vote advantage, a plus more than Republicans, in order to feel good going into the presidential election day. And they need to get about 335,000 to feel good going 335,000 advantage over Republicans for
Yeah.
the Senate race, where Bob Casey's really popular. Okay.
Okay. I would love to have even more than that because of the shenanigans. And well, I mean, Pennsylvania actually is a fair fight, but in states like North Carolina and all those where the Supreme Court is an issue. Anyways, okay, continue.
So just as a point of reference so that we're all on the same page here. So what we're looking here at is Dem minus Republican votes. And is there an advantage what's the advantage for Democrats? And these are the numbers he says this is the advantage Dems would like in mail-in votes by election day. Now the firewall term is a term that he's ripped off from John Ralston, who's this Nevada
Mm,
legendary journalist who tracks Nevada early voting data. And he talks about the firewalls that Dems like to have in Nevada going into election day. And
okay.
Ralston has just started tracking Nevada data, but there's hardly any data in yet. So over the next couple of weeks, we're going to draw upon Smithley in Pennsylvania, Ralston in Nevada. There's this guy, Mish voter, who's tracking Michigan data. And
Okay.
then in Arizona, there's the what is he, the data guru, okay? And then in North
I just want to
Carolina,
I
I
just
can't,
want to note that you're really nerding out right now, and people are just more excited that you're excited, and they're not going to follow any of this. But this is great. These
and in Georgia,
random Twitter people that
and
you're
in
quoting.
Georgia, right, there's this guy, he's a professor of some kind, but he's not, he's a professor in Nevada or something who does data analysis of Georgia. Anyways, these are folks who I have followed and trust over
Hmm.
several elections.
I see. I see. Do
Okay.
they know you exist?
Uh, well, of course they know who Common Power is. Okay. All right.
You should become an expert in Washington State polling or something like that. I don't know. Rhode Island. Choose like some other state. Anyways, okay. What are they saying, man? Get to the point here.
Okay.
We're seeing this image.
Right. So notice I'm not giving you more, man, because
You're not.
okay.
You're not. It's
And
been 10 minutes now. What is
okay, so
this?
here's Smithley's tweet
Okay.
from this morning, a couple hours ago. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he's cataloging day by day. All right. So now we're 4 days in to the analysis. And these are the numbers cast that have been cataloged by Pennsylvania so far from early mail-in votes. 344,000 votes. It's a lot of votes. All right.
Okay. Okay.
This is the breakdown by party so far. All
Wow.
right. the Dems 238,000,
Wow.
the Republicans 76,000, and then 29,000 independents. So what's that vote by mail? That's what VBM is, vote by mail splits.
Mm-hmm.
The Dems are both roughly at 70% of the vote by mail right now. Okay. Now, this would be a problematic data that we would not want to look at if only, for example, Democratic counties were reporting.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is not the case. This is why Smithley doesn't start his analysis until October 7th, because until then, all the counties are kind of disparate in how they're reporting.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. So he's been holding on to this stuff for a while.
Yeah, so right, Smithley's been criticizing others like Christopher Boozy and others who have been,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
because like they're reporting stuff, and he's like, no, don't pay any attention to that because that's only just Philly data. That's just Philadelphia data. Okay.
Can I tell you, Twitter with pollsters and data guys, it's a bloodbath. It is like
It really
hand-to-hand
is.
combat. Those guys go after each other super hard. The insults coming out, it is it's like a bunch of Steve Kornacki's like yelling at each other. It's fabulous.
Right. There's the two Nates, Nate Silver, Nate Cohn from the
Yeah.
Dems. Then there's Michael McDonald from Florida. There's Split Ticket. All right. There's just
Mm-hmm.
all these folks. God, I love them. I love them
Yeah,
all.
you do. Okay,
Okay.
let's stop naming them. Like
So
we're losing listeners right now.
no, we're not. They're like, wow, wow. Okay. This is okay. So here we are. Vote by mail by Democrats as of this like data from yesterday. He reports them each morning early. Okay.
Okay.
So what does that mean in terms of raw counts? Well, the Dem firewall right now is 162,000. Okay.
Nice.
162,000. And if you look back on the, what he said on October 7th, he pegs it as, hey, the Dems want to get to about 400,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure, sure.
4 days in, I'm not including some of his, like, he does some analysis each morning too. I'm not concluding them here, but he's like,
Yeah.
he's
This
like,
is huge.
he,
This
he,
is huge just 4 days in.
yeah,
Yeah.
he said, and he's very careful. So he says, look, data can change. Don't know what's going to happen. Don't know. But he's like, I'm astounded at how fast the Dems have come out of the gate here. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is really great.
That's
Now,
a huge deal.
this is really great, but wait, you can also, this doesn't tell us where they're from in the state. Okay. So you really, really want
Oh,
the,
so what? Oh, so he's saying, okay, I see where this is going. He's like, this is not even with a bunch of the blue counties, huh?
no, this is with all the count. This is with all the counties, but we don't know, according to Smithley's analysis, which counties that they're coming from. I mean, it's still really robust numbers, but Smithley kind of stops there and he's like, I'm not going to tell you anything more. Okay.
Well, these are all the counties, but they're still voting right now. So they're
Yeah.
going to keep the numbers are going to keep coming in.
Oh, yeah, they're going to keep going big. But if you want to look at these, how many 344,000 votes, if you're a Dem right now, you're like, hey, I hope that the Dem counties are showing up big,
Right.
the big ones, right?
Yeah.
So here's the UMich voter analysis that shows the same data as of 2 hours ago by county. All right. Philadelphia County is Philadelphia, Allegheny is Pittsburgh, and Montgomery is outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Okay. Bucks is where we're working half the time. Chester, we've worked there. All
Yeah,
right.
we were
We've
there
worked in
earlier this year.
Lancaster.
So the Bucks County, what is that? That's like 2-1 Dem to
So
Republican in
what
Bucks
he's yeah,
County
what
for
he so
turnout.
so what you Mish voters doing is taking the partisan identification of each of the cast ballots and showing them by county and showing them by partisanism in each county. Yes.
Yeah. So this is another like low voter excitement thing. If they're not coming out of the gate, this is a reflection of like we're having these conversations with people. There's a bunch of Republican voters that are like, I don't know. I don't know who to vote for. I don't know if I should even vote this time. Those are the
Yep.
ones that we're getting to come our way.
So this data is really strong Dem data. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll periodically check in on this, and I'm going to bring in the other states, as I said, as we go over time. But for the what is undoubtedly the most important state in the presidential election,
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, the
Hands down.
Dems are off to a strong start. Okay, so
That's good. I like that a lot, man. I like that a lot.
Now,
Yeah, this is the data, when you hear these stories about us talking to Republican voters or Kamala not trying to go toe to toe with Trump and shoring up the base, not playing defense on BIPOC men, that kind of thing. And she's going after Republicans, she's going after these swing voters. It's because her camp has been seeing this data, in various other ways where she's like, no, we're going to push hard on these people because there's a bunch of people who are like, I can't stand this guy, but I feel like I have to vote for him. Give me a reason why I shouldn't.
so tonight, Barack Obama hits the campaign trail for Harris, and he has declared that he's going to campaign through Election Day. All right. Tonight he speaks at the University of Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania. Tim Walz is in Pittsburgh over the weekend. Doug Emhoff is in Pennsylvania over the weekend. Kamala Harris is in Erie, Pennsylvania on Monday. Jill Biden is in Pittsburgh, I'm sorry, Philadelphia on Monday and Tuesday. They're pushing for Pennsylvania. So when you're going to be there, and how many people are we going to have on the ground in Pennsylvania this weekend?
100 people.
100 people, man. 100 freaking people. And are we in the Philly area? Where are we?
We're going to be in Bucks County still.
Bucks County. All
Yeah,
right.
talking to those. That's why I was zeroed in on that county because they're like, why is there not more Republicans turning out? It's because they're like, come talk to me, please, come talk to me.
There is one fundamental distinction that just emerges in these data, which is our ability to mobilize voters. All right. To get them to vote. Every time someone casts a vote, you are then told in the minivan app that they've already voted. Right.
Yeah, it's a lagging data point, but yeah, what's going to happen on these trips coming up is we're going to see a little voted tag pull up next to somebody else, and how they cut the turf will completely change. So they'll start to remove some people from the lists. They'll be looking at this data, and they're going to be saying, okay, so we've got to change this. We can go after some more of these people who are on the bench right now. It could mean the doors get harder. It could mean they try some places that they wouldn't otherwise try because our turnout's really good. What this would tell me is Dems are activated. Dems are out there voting early. We don't need to talk to Dems. That's what that would tell me. I would have us talk to even less Democrats.
Mm.
I would have us go to even more independent registered and Republican registered people because those are the gettable people. I would actually risk some more um volunteer capacity on some of these doors because you risk volunteer capacity because there's burnout if people hit a bunch of doors and there's people yelling at them or there's people that are not giving them the good answers at doors. But Common Power is going to persevere through that because we invest in community.
Yeah, let's finish with that on this podcast. I want to hammer that point home, what you just said, and then I want to come back to have you tell us again your thoughts as ED here. Knocking these doors that we've been at knocking, Republic, soft R's, and independents is harder, right? It's
Yeah,
harder. It's harder than anybody would ideally have for us. Okay.
harder
But
than it's ever been actually for volunteers for
okay.
about a decade actually.
Um, and it is the mountain we have to climb for
Mm-hmm.
this election, right? It is. We are not going to win this election by existing in the spaces that are comfortable to us. We are not. They're not going to elect the first woman president. We're not going to elect the first woman of color president. We're not going to possibly hold the Senate unless we climb this mountain. So as hard as it is, people, this is the assignment. This is the mission.
Yeah, I think that for people listening who are kind of like, I don't want to do that, or I don't want us to have to do that, I want you to think about those moments that you have where you're talking to friends and family who disagree with you politically, where you're looking at the news and you're dismayed by it, where you're, those quiet moments by yourself on walks or whatever, and you're like, I wish our country could come together.
Mm.
Um, yeah, that's a tough thing to achieve. And in order to get that, it takes hard work. It doesn't just take wishful thinking and research. It takes people who are willing to meet those people who have moved towards the middle, who are ready to come towards us and to have conversations in the same way that if you had a signal from your wayward relative who has voted for Trump twice, and you're getting signals in the lead up to Thanksgiving coming up soon, that this person may be open to thinking your way. You don't get to just stay on your side. You have to go and talk to them now. Like if they're asking you questions and they're like, maybe I've been making bad voting decisions these past couple years. When you talk to them, it's not going to be the best. It's not going to be the funnest thing. But if they're telling you that, then you got to make a step towards them, and that's what we're doing. We're doing the hard work of having tough conversations with people. But these are the most important conversations that we could be having. It's hard because it's so meaningful, and it's that whole like it's always the toughest before you get to the good part. Um, that's what we're doing right now. We're doing the hard work. These are the hardest doors we've ever knocked on. It's the hardest calls that anyone's ever made. And I'm hearing this across the entire system, not just with Common Power. And that's because she's fighting for the middle. So for you moderates out there, for those people that used to be Republicans, or the people who are Dem moderates and have worried about how far the left has been, well, now we're ready to come to the middle. We're ready to come to meet people in the middle. So what it takes in the middle is it's it's a lot of these tough conversations. So let's do it. Let's buckle down and do it.
Let's do it. The data that we can look at right now is very encouraging, people. All right. So when you see the polls, know that the polls are not the same thing as votes.
No.
Votes are require action by people. So a poll, you can give your opinion. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
A vote is a vote that requires action. And since 2022 and the Dobbs Supreme Court decision, the Dems have been doing much better than the polls because people have to actually cast a vote.
Yeah. Yeah. A vote is the best poll that there is. Okay. It's more a it's a real action, and there's greater numbers. Polls are like 2,000 people, maybe 4,000 if you get really, really good poll. These are like hundreds of thousands of people that are like, here's what I think, and here's evidence of it. So believe the voting as soon as it happens. The only reason why we were paying attention to polls before is because that's all we had. But now that we have voting, throw the polls out, throw them out. Unless David and I are like, the poll, it's worth looking at, right, David?
uh, all right. I got a lunch thing. I'll connect with you, man. You get on the plane tomorrow morning, right?
I'm getting on the plane tomorrow morning. Lots of good stuff. I shot 3 videos yesterday. They're gonna start rolling out. You can tell because I'm wearing the same damn thing in all 3 videos.
Solid.
But I'm gonna send you one. I got a cool one on low information volunteers.
Oh, all right.
Low information volunteers are part of our system. Necessary part of our system. But we need to help each other. Let's go.
Okay. All right. Thanks. See you, man.
Thanks.
All right.